Hello everyone and welcome to today's presentation. I'm Ryan Miles, the CIO for New Breed, and I'm excited to have you here today as we go over the global IT and business strategy. This slide here shows a quick overview of what we'll be discussing. We're going to take a look at the current situation before we delve into the impacts of this globalization. We're going to look closely at the revised business strategies and revised IT systems architecture as a result of this globalization, and we'll wrap up with a couple of conclusions. First of all, the current situation. Two big events really changing the landscape here at New Breed. First and foremost, we have large requests that have come in from the U.S. Department of Treasury for battery-powered armored vehicles. So this changes our landscape by, instead of having small orders, we're trying to now wrap our heads around and wrap our business around being able to suit these large orders and look for more of those in the future. So there's going to be some things in our strategy and in our architecture update that will affect that. And then possibly the biggest news New Breed's ever faced is the acquisition of 4 international departments. A bunch of money from investors gave us the flexibility to go out and purchase new locations overseas. So as you can see here, we've got the parts manufacturing plant in Germany, microprocessors in Seoul, Korea, some mines in South Africa, and a call center in New Delhi, India. Further, the current situation as it stands today, we've got a business strategy, an IT strategy, and a current system architecture that we're all familiar with. Things like direct customer sales, from providing reliable data to our American offices. And then in the architecture here, we've got some familiar platforms such as the Oracle database and the Oracle ERP that we all know well. Really, the point of bringing you here today is really to speak to the impacts of this globalization. So a few key takeaways here. First of all, our current ERP is just really an insufficient solution to reach our global market. So we're going to talk further down in the presentation about how we're going to face that. Second, outsourcing is a big impact to what we'll be able to do to help the company grow and keep within costs and increase our profit margin. And then finally, we're going to take a quick look at the individual international impacts for the new overseas acquisitions. First of all, for the international impact of our motor parts manufacturing plant in Germany, Germany has a relatively high cost of doing business. High taxes, cost of living there is expensive, and we're going to have to find ways to ensure we can increase sales over there to offset that. Secondly, there's rigid efficiency in Germany to the point of a fault almost, as far as the creativity can suffer. So we're going to have to find ways to stimulate creativity in our new German location. South Korea is a big bonus for us because very recently the U.S. and South Korea signed a bilateral agreement for U.S. and Korea free trade, which is going to give us some great benefits on the financial side. And one of our thrusts in South Korea is going to be to increase the workplace diversity by hiring more women. Women are an underutilized skill set and market in South Korea, so we're going to do our best to increase workplace diversity. The call center in India is just the opposite of Germany. There's a very low cost of doing business and starting a business there. And this is also where we will look at benefiting the most from outsourcing. South Africa is according to our research, a very easy place to start a new business. Unfortunately, the mining industry over there is facing many safety concerns, and we have a great opportunity to do some environmental cleanup, keeping in line with New Breed's core values. Now getting down to the revised business strategies, there's really 3 new business strategies that we're going to try to push as we go global. First of all, we're going to try to increase the quality of life for our employees and our customers, both at the US locations and overseas. Secondly, we'll be a leading force for positive change for the environment. And lastly, we will change the world consumer opinion of electric vehicles. Right now, they're viewed as a sort of a small niche market. It can't keep up with, combustion engines. We're going to change that and make people understand that shouldn't be the exception, but should be a first choice. As we mentioned earlier in the slideshow, we're going to need to revise a few parts of our IT systems architecture. And first off, the Oracle ERP system that we're using is not going to keep up with our global demands. So we've decided to move to the SAP ERP system, which has a very integrated rollout that can help us in all of our global locations. Some things we hope to see returns on investment here. We can see areas impacted, such as the accounting for the international tax laws, risk reduction. The SAP has a very specific mining capability for their ERP system. We hope to see some risk reduction there. And we're hoping that this will also, and most importantly, ease the integration of newly acquired systems into U.S. operations. Some of the key strengths of this SAP solution were that they have a great pricing model that you can see in the interim report. And the graphic here on the screen shows the replication server that will help us keep data reliability and data security as we move from a US only to a global infrastructure. Additionally, under the IT systems architecture, we plan on switching to the pivotal big data. It's a big data suite that just stands out in the market from our research. We feel like as we move into this global market, we need something to keep the edge and stay ahead of our competition. And this pivotal big data suite is right now leading edge technology. As you can see from the graphic, this is an example of how the clustering and some of the analytics can be deployed across a global environment. You see the corporate US central archive, and then examples of the European and African local archives, and the secondary cluster in Asia, and the different layers of security. So the graphic shows just a simplified view of this new big data push. We hope to gain from this accurate demand forecasts, converting sales leads to actual sales, increasing not just immediate value, but lifetime customer value, and also being able to more effectively manage our sales force. In conclusion, we really want to balance the risks versus the reward, and you'll see this in the interim report. There are many risks to expanding to a global market, but there are also very lucrative and very high rewards. So our goal is to sort of balance those two, and you'll see that in the presentation and the interim reports. Also, we want to focus on long-term return on investment. We're not trying to hurry and make a quick buck. So some of these strategies and these revisions to the architecture are centered around long-term return on investment. And finally, we really want to be good stewards of our new acquisitions, right in line with New Breed's visions and core values. We really need to be responsible in these new locations and set our best foot forward to make the world a better place, one electric vehicle at a time. Thanks, and I'll take any questions now.